by JEGS.
Today we've taken a drive down to our favorite burger joint in this behemoth, a 1972 Chevy K5 Blazer. Now, if you know anything about cars and trucks from this era, you know that they all came with carburetors from the factory. But you probably also know that carburetors are not that great for things like fuel economy, emissions, and drivability. But the alternative, switching over to EFI, used to be an expensive and hassle-prone process because you had to get professionals involved. Well, not anymore. We've got the Holley Terminator EFI system on this, and it's self-learning. But before we show you the installation, let's take a closer look at what makes this truck tick.
It's got a 383 stroke granite rated at about 450 horsepower. It's got 456 gears with Detroit True Track front and rear. Followed up with a turbo 350 transmission and an NP205 transfer case, this will be able to handle all the power that we're trying to throw at it.
We do a lot of trail riding with it, go out through Anza State Park and try to find trails that we haven't conquered yet. When you're going uphills, inclines, declines, sometimes I find myself starving the carb or we'll be flooding it.
We're going to go ahead and see if we can get a little bit better drivability out of this by ditching the old carburetor and strapping on a brand new Holley self-tuning EFI system. Now, the throttle body comes in a 4-barrel configuration, so it will bolt onto any square flange intake manifold that you have. The annular discharge ring design provides better fuel atomization with no air restrictions, which is really a step up from their past EFI units. You get 80-pound injectors, which are rated from anywhere from 200 to 600 horsepower range, which on a bolt-on EFI kit is pretty impressive. Now, all the sensors are pre-wired in the throttle body, which make it really easy for a plug-and-play unit. It's completely sealed, so you don't have to worry about any maintenance on it. Now let's just get to showing you how easy the install is. First, you got to remove the old system, which is real basic. After that, install the Holley 950 CFM throttle body. Next is actually just adapting the fuel system, which is pretty simple as well. So we converted the fuel system to a return style setup by adding an electric fuel pump, a regulator, and a return line. After that, some simple wiring and mounting the ECU. We're going to actually go through and set up a couple parameters on our handheld, and then we'll be ready to fire this thing up and see how it sounds and performs.
Now, with the carburetor setup we originally had on, we were getting about 7 miles to the gallon average. Now with the new EFI system on, we're getting 11 miles to the gallon. That's a huge increase. Now I'm really curious to see what this is going to do on the dyno.
Well, yeah, I took it out for some initial driving just to let it learn and tune itself. Then we went ahead and strapped it on our DynoJet dyno, ran it, and got 295 horsepower to the rear wheels. This is right in range and horsepower as far as our old carburetor setup is concerned.
What we're really looking for here is area under the curve and better drivability.
Yeah, you can definitely feel it when you hit the gas pedal stoplight to stoplight.
Well, I'm really looking forward to driving this. Let's take it out.
Let's go see what it'll do.
Now, if we're going to be completely honest, comparing apples to apples, a properly tuned carburetor is going to make as much peak horsepower, or maybe even a little bit more, than an EFI system like this. A carburetor doesn't have the important advantages that EFI gives you, and that's power under the curve. In other words, not necessarily at wide open throttle, not necessarily at peak RPM, but all through the rev band. That's going to make it a lot more drivable. That's going to make it a lot more enjoyable both on-road and off. And you're also going to get better throttle response, which means better rock crawling, better stoplight to stoplight performance, and it's just going to be nicer overall. Now, I'm not going to say that it's going to make something like this practical as a daily driver, but it's sure going to make it a lot more fun. And that's really where you're going to get your value out of it. It's going to make it something you want to drive all the time. So this is a handheld that comes with the Terminator, and you use it for initial setup, right? But it does a lot more than that, though.
Yeah, aside from the initial setup with this, there's a lot of different parameters that you can play with, i.e. air-fuel ratios, enrichment tip-ins on idle, and different things like that.
So even though the system is self-learning, you can still adjust those parameters to customize it as you're going along, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I said, there's air-fuel ratios. You can adjust your wide-open throttle, your idle, as well as your cruising air-fuel, just some of the most basic adjustments you can make.
And do you have to know a lot to set the thing up in the first place, or does it walk you through stuff pretty well?
Now, that's the really cool thing about the system, too, is actually just a few simple questions, i.e. engine size, cam specs, what type of fuel system you're actually using, and even if you don't know what type of cam you're using, there's a I don't know section.
so it can cover up for any gaps in your own knowledge base there.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, I also see that it's got a port on the side, and I understand that's for uploading firmware updates?
Yeah, this system is actually completely updatable to be compliant with the Holley HP tuning software, as well as being able to data log, so if you ever needed to get some information from them because it was acting up or something for any reason, or maybe it was just something internally wrong with the motor, you can data log, send it to Holley, they'll get you some valuable information back.
We've taken our classic truck and given it all the advantages of modern EFI. Better drivability, easy starting, better gas mileage. Holley's system takes you through it step by step from A to Z, so this is an installation that anybody can do in the comfort and safety of their own driveway. It's a great upgrade for any classic muscle car or truck that uses a carburetor.
Brought to you by JEGS. Fast Delivery. Your source for high performance and quality. Delivering performance since 1960. JEGS.com.